Hello, and welcome to Styla's Annecy Sew-Along. Annecy is a woven button-up dress featuring a dolman sleeve. Annecy features a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance, unless otherwise stated. Before beginning, make sure all your fabric pieces have been prepped. This includes transferring all notches and markings from the pattern pieces to your fabric. Locate the front pocket piece. Fold the top straight edge of the pocket 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Fold the top edge of the pocket an additional 3/4 inch or 2 centimeters and press. Top stitch to secure using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Fold the remaining raw edges of the pocket 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Place the pocket on the left dress front. Align the top left of the pocket using the pocket placement mark on the pattern piece. The pocket should be positioned approximately 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters above the underarm and centered horizontally on the dress. Top stitch in place using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Stay stitch the front and back dress pieces along the arm side and neckline using a straight stitch and 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter seam allowance. Fuse the 1 1/2 inch or 4 centimeter interfacing to the wrong side of both dress front pieces. Fold the long, straight edge 3/4 inch or 2 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Fold another 3/4 inch or 2 centimeters enclosing the raw edge and press. Top stitch 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 centimeters from the folded edge. Repeat with the remaining dress front. Finish the raw edge of the shoulders and sides of the front and the back dress pieces. Finish the edges of each side pocket piece. Place the pocket piece on the dress right sides together. Align the straight edge of the pocket to the side edge of the dress and the top of the pocket to the inseam pocket marking. Sew the pocket into place along the straight edge using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Press the seam toward the pocket. Understitch the seam to the pocket. Repeat for the remaining pocket pieces on the front and back dress pieces. Place the front and back dress pieces right sides together. Align the shoulders. Sew to attach each shoulder using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Press the seams open. Align the underarm and side edges. Beginning at the underarm, sew the side edges with a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Pivot the needle where the existing pocket stitches are met. When the side vent placement mark is reached, back stitch to secure the spot. Press the seam open and the side vents 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together. Sew to secure the side vents 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 centimeters from the edge of the fabric. At the top of the side vent, leave the needle down, raise the presser foot, pivot the fabric, and sew straight across the top of the side vent. Repeat these steps and pivot the fabric again to sew down the hem of the dress. Repeat for the remaining side vent. Locate both collar pieces. Place both collar pieces right sides together. Pin or clip into place. Sew around the short edges and top long edge using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the seam allowance and clip the corners. Turn the collar right side out, pushing the corners out nicely, and press well. Top stitch the collar using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Fuse the collar stand interfacing to the collar lining. Fold the bottom edge of the collar stand lining 1/2 of an inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Find and mark the center of the collar stand main and lining. Locate the dress. Find and mark the center back of the neck opening. Pin or clip the center of the bottom edge of the collar stand main to the center of the neck opening, right sides together. Pin or clip the ends of the collar stand extending 1/2 of an inch past the edge of the placket. Ease the rest of the collar stand to the neck opening and pin or clip into place. Sew to secure using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the seam allowance to 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeters and press it up towards the collar stand main. Place the collar on top of the main collar stand, right sides together, aligning the center points and the raw edges. Base the collar to the collar stand main using a 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Place the collar stand lining, right sides down, onto the collar stand main and collar, right sides together, sandwiching the collar. Leave the bottom of the collar stand lining folded. Start and finish sewing right at the edges of the placket using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Trim the seam allowance to 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeters. Turn the collar and the stand right side out and press. Pin the memory crease of the collar stand lining to the neck seam, enclosing the seam entirely. Top stitch around the entire collar stand using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Fold the bottom straight edge 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Fold the bottom edge another 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters, enclosing the raw edge, and press. Top stitch 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 centimeters from the folded edge. Locate the long sleeve. Finish the bottom raw edge of the sleeve. Fold the bottom finished edge of the sleeve 1/2 of an inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together. Press to create a memory crease. Unfold the memory crease. Fold the sleeve at the center line, right sides together. Sew along the marked line. Starting at the top of the sleeve cap, continue sewing until the end of the drawn line is reached. Backstitch to secure. Unfold the sleeve. Fold the sewn pleat in half, aligning the center line with the previously sewn line. Pin or clip to hold in place. Press the top part of the pleat. Baste the pleat in place using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Fold the sleeve in half, right sides together, aligning the straight raw edges. Make sure the memory crease is unfolded. Pin or clip into place. Sew to secure using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Finish the seam. Locate the dress. Turn the dress wrong side out. Keeping the sleeve right side out, insert the sleeve into the arm opening of the dress. Make sure the front of the sleeve is facing the dress front. Align the seam of the sleeve with the underarm seam of the bodice and the sewn pleat seam with the shoulder seam. Pin or clip into place. Continue pinning in place around the circumference of the arm opening. Sew to attach the sleeve using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Finish the seam. Press the seam toward the dress bodice. Refold the memory crease at the bottom of the sleeve. Top stitch 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 centimeters from the fold of the finished fabric edge to secure the hem. Leave a 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter opening near the seam to thread the elastic through. Insert the elastic using a safety pin. Overlap the ends of the elastic by 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters. Using a zigzag stitch, sew the ends of the elastic together. Pull the elastic into the casing and sew the opening closed using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Repeat all steps for the remaining sleeve. Locate the waist sash pieces. Place the sash pieces right sides together, lining up the short ends. Sew to attach using a 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeter seam allowance. Fold both short edges 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Fold the long outside edges 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters wrong sides together and press. Fold the fabric in half to enclose all the raw edges. Sew the long folded edge using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance to secure it closed. Locate the belt loop pieces. Fold the belt loop in half, wrong sides together. Press to create a memory crease. Unfold. Fold the raw edges of the loop, wrong sides together to meet the center crease, and press. Fold the loop in half again to enclose the long raw edges. Press. Sew to secure the belt loop using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Repeat for the remaining belt loop. Fold and press the top and bottom ends of the belt loop 1/2 inch or 1.3 centimeters. Align the top of the belt loop with the belt loop marking. Pin the belt loop to the dress. Top stitch the belt loop at the top and bottom edges using a 1/8 inch or 0.3 centimeter seam allowance. Repeat with the remaining belt loop. The buttonholes will be sewn on the wearer's right side. The top buttonhole should be centered on the collar stand. The remaining buttonholes should be placed every 3 to 3.5 inches or 7.6 centimeters to 8.9 centimeters below the top buttonhole. The front button plackets will overlap approximately 3/4 inch or 2 centimeters. The buttons and buttonholes should be centered on the button plackets. Sew the corresponding buttons to the other side of the dress. Feed the sash through the belt loops and tie to a bow. Thank you for joining us for the Styla Annecy Sew Along. We hope you enjoyed sewing with us today and you join us next time.